and welcome to the Pursuit of Healthiness Podcast. My name is Rina van Delft. I'm a health and mindset coach, entrepreneur, fiance, spaghetti and ice cream lover, and a cat mom. I'm really passionate about empowering women into greatness, make them feel empowered and confident in their bodies. I love deep and real conversations, so in this podcast, I will bring in guests to talk about health, happiness, and everything in between on a more raw and deeper level. No small talk and no information is left behind. These are real life stories, so get uncomfortable and enjoy. Welcome at the second episode of the Pursuit of Healthiness Podcast. I'm really excited because I have a special guest today. Her name is Alcine and she was born in North Carolina but grew up in Germany and now lives back in Georgia. She went from 350 pounds to bodybuilding, powerlifting, being a mom. She has her own business. She is a nutritionist, a personal trainer. She is just incredible. I don't have other words for her. She's just amazing. You have to hear it for yourself. So let's get to it. Hello, everybody. So we have Alcine today with us. So Alcine, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you come from, what you do.
All right. Well, starting off with my name is Alcine. I'm actually an Army brat, but I always claim Germany because that's just where I grew up. But I was actually born in North Carolina, but I don't know much about it. I've only been there a few times. And I'm currently a Wellness Director for the YMCA, and I'm also a virtual personal trainer and nutritionist.
Wow, cool. How did you get there?
So I actually this whole journey for me started back in 2009. I used to weigh 315 pounds. Okay. And I really wanted to lose weight. I was married at the time, and my ex-husband made it very clear he didn't like me being overweight. And so he started going to the gym with me at first, but he was in the military, and his training and trying to help me, it was just not working. I was getting frustrated. And so then I decided, So I decided to start going to the gym by myself. And I heard one day I was on the elliptical, and I heard this music coming out of a room, and I heard these ladies having a great time. And I'm like, I looked in and like, what is that? They're like, oh, that's the Zumba class. I said, what's Zumba? And they're like, oh, it's like a dance cardio class. And I was like, oh, they're like, yeah, you should try it. I'm like, no. I was so nervous, but the instructor saw me and she found me on the floor later and invited me to her class. So I decided to go the next time, and I had a great time until I realized I had 2 left feet, and I tripped a girl and she busted her lip. Hey. So I didn't go back for 2 more weeks. I love telling that story.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I didn't go back. Yeah, it was awful. So I didn't go back for 2 more weeks, and then I finally went back. I got the courage to go back, but I decided to go all the way back in the corner to keep everybody else safe.
Oh my God, I can't imagine standing you in a corner, like doing your own thing so you can't hurt anybody.
Right. And so, months go by and I start getting better. I start understanding the steps of the class, and I started to get a little bit more confident. So I went from my little back corner to the back row, and to the back row to the middle. And then eventually I was in the front row, the
cool.
Star divas, and I felt great. And I loved it. I was making friends and I was losing weight. At that point, I had lost about 30 pounds. And so the instructor, her name was Eliana Ceballos, and she goes, Alcine, you're really, really good at this, and your energy is amazing. You should teach. And I looked at her. I said, do you not remember me like hurting somebody in your class? Like, you want me to teach people to hurt people? Like, I can't do that. I would no, I can't. I was like, and plus I'm still big. Nobody's gonna want to take my class. I don't look like you. Yeah. And she goes, Alcine, well, I look at it like this. She's like, your energy gets the rest of my class motivated. I'm just here teaching, but you keep them hype. 2, if you're teaching, that will keep you in the gym. So, and you also get a free membership because you're an employee now, not just a member anymore. And I said, okay, good point. Yeah. So I was like, I'll go get the certification. So I did it. And then 2 weeks later, I got Zumba, and then I got Zumba toning. And then 2 weeks after that, I got hired at my first gym and as a substitute. And it worked out really well. And they had a certification for Ripped coming up. I never heard of Ripped, but my boss was like, hey, you know, we always encourage our instructors to get more certifications. So you should go get Ripped. And I said, okay. I was like, when is it? They're like, this weekend. I said, okay. You know, they were paying for it, so why not? I'll go.
Why not? Yeah, exactly.
So I go, and look, I had no idea what this class was. Never heard of it. As soon as I walked in and I saw the master trainer and the other people, I knew I was in the wrong place.
Oh my God.
Because I was the thick Zumba instructor who can, you know, dance the night away, but Ripped, this is like boot camp. You know, we're doing push-ups and squats, and I'm like, whoa. I'm in the wrong place. I'm not supposed to be here. And so, you know, of course, obviously I stayed, and I was sore for about 2 weeks, you know, but it was fun, but I was like, oh, I would never teach this class. I will never, ever teach this. And so at that time, my ex-husband, he got stationed to InStepp, Germany. So, of course, I wanted to work in the gym there. So I go in, I'm like, hey, yes, I'm an instructor. I teach Zumba and Zumba toning. And they saw my RIP certification. They're like, oh, well, what's RIP? I'm like, well, it's a great class. It's cardio and strength training. They call it the one-stop body shop because we do everything. It's an acronym. It stands for resistance, interval, power, plyometrics, endurance, and diet. And they're like, well, we have nothing like that here. We have Zumba. We want that. And I'm like, I really don't feel comfortable teaching that. They're like, well, we have enough Zumba instructors, so if you want a job, you're going to have to do RIT. And I'm like, okay. So 2 weeks they gave me to learn the choreography, and my first class was in a racquetball court. And I had 4 girls in there, and I could barely do everything myself, so I taught a lot of it modified. And that was okay. They liked it. The second class, I had 14 people. The third class, are you ready for this? My third class, I had 80 people. 80. I walk into the gym and to teach my third class, and they said, Alcine, you're no longer in the racquetball court, you're on the basketball court. I said, why? They're like, go out there and see. And there's all these ladies out there. And I'm like,
where did it come from?
Yeah, a friend told a friend told a friend told a friend. There's this instructor. She's teaching this class. It's great. And she looks like us. That's what I was told. So when I saw them all, I'm an emotional person. Like, I'm strong, but I am like the most sensitive, emotional person. I saw them all. I just started crying. I'm like, you're all here for me? Like, you trust me to help you?
That is
and so
beautiful.
After that day, that's when it just like exploded for me. Like I was in the newspaper, I was on the news. I was the very first ripped instructor in Europe. And like, I even got hired in a German gym. I was learning how to, do exercises in German. Like, my favorite word is Liegestützel for push-ups. It was the first time I said it, I said Liegestützel, and they laughed at me. But like, then after that, I wanted to learn more. I was like, I want to do other stuff now. Yeah. And so, I was one day walking in the gym, and one of my other bosses happened to see me, and he's like, hey, have you ever thought about bodybuilding? I'm like, bodybuilding? No. Why would I do bodybuilding? Like, what? Because even though, I lost a lot more weight at that point, I was probably down about 60, 70 pounds by that point. I still wasn't thinking like I looked that great. I still had, image issues with myself. We're always our own worst critic. And now you're telling me you want me to get in a bikini and get judged on the thing that I'm already afraid of right now. Like, that's what you want me to do. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay.
It's just okay. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. So the first year I trained with him, I actually didn't make it to the stage. No. I learned a very hard lesson that first year, that we, as I just said, we are our own worst enemies when it comes to our motivation and commitment to something. So with bodybuilding, it's more than just eating right and showing up to the gym. It's a lot of mental. And if you don't have your mental in the right place, it doesn't matter what you do. And I learned that the first year. So I didn't make it to the stage the first year. I actually had to watch my best friend go on stage without me. And when I saw her on the stage, it was like, okay, no, I got to do that. So the next year I went all in. Like nothing was stopping me. Like I stopped drinking. I stopped eating my Kinder Buenos because that's my vice. I love Kinder Buenos and Nutella. Like I could eat that every day, all day. I stopped eating it. But instead what I would do is every time I lost a pound, I'd buy a Kinder Bueno and I put it in this box. Because the idea was that once I did the competition, I would eat them all at once and, you know, just indulge. Yeah. And I know it sounds counterproductive, but that's what I wanted. So, but that's how I motivated myself.
If it helps, it helps.
Yeah, I wrote the number of days I had till my competition on my hand. Every day I'd write the number. So that way, if I was out, I would see the number on my hand. Like, okay, Alcine, you got 47 days. You really don't want to make that. You don't want to do that. So I did it. The second year, I made it on the stage. And it was the most amazing experience in my life. Like, still thinking about it. It's been 6 years since I did the bodybuilding competition. But I took second place. And the person who beat me was actually my own client.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, this is kind of funny then.
Yeah, she's the one who beat me. But she was awesome. That girl, she was already like really ripped to begin with. It was just defining everything on her. So she did amazing. I was so proud of her. It was the best experience. And so moving forward, since then, I'm over 30 certifications in now. I can teach just about any group exercise class out there because I have either the certification or a certification like it. I got my personal training certification. I got my nutrition certification. And just recently I got my bodybuilding specialist certification. And I also obtained my elite trainer with ISSA. And so I'm there now. And now this past March, I did something else out of my box. I did my very first powerlifting competition.
Wow.
And so I took first place in my category and I broke a record. So
congratulations.
I'll be competing for powerlifting, deadlift only. But so now I did bodybuilding, powerlifting.
Damn.
I've been big, I've been small, I've been everything in between. And I love it because I feel like I have an awesome story to help people no matter where they are in their journey, because I've literally been just about everywhere in the
journey. Oh my God. That's an amazing journey. That's an amazing story.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's me.
Yeah.
Extreme.
Yes. Wow. Amazing. But you said that you've been through like all kinds of stages. Well, when it comes to body type,
yes.
body. In what way do you feel your best? Because I've heard a lot of women say who are training for bodybuilding or something like that feel much more better within themselves when they're not training as hard for the competitions, because you do have to sacrifice a lot for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So honestly, for me though, I actually feel my best when I have a goal. Like I like working towards something. Like it's just, I like feeling like I'm focused. Like it gives me something to think about. Because when I'm not training, you know, and this is where I said I've been big and small, like, okay, obviously I'm not bodybuilding now, you know, and, you know, of course I've taken advantage of the not having to be on that strict diet, because powerlifting is a little bit different. I mean, I still have a diet that I follow, you know, so that I could keep my strength and not, you know, sacrifice any lean muscle mass. But at the same time, it's not as bad as bodybuilding. But I like the whole, okay, Alcine, you know, this month, you like, for example, I remember when my trainer took away my peanut butter. Peanut butter was like my thing. Like, I'm like, okay, I can't have candy. So 1 scoop of peanut butter a day, that was like my thing. And then he took that away from me. And I'm like, okay, well, what can I have in place of it? He said PB2. I'm like, okay. So then I made a Reese's oatmeal with chocolate protein powder and PB2. And so for me, it was the closest thing to a Reese's, and that became my thing. Then he took away my protein powder. And I'm like, all right.
Why would you do that?
Well, because it was to make you not hold as much water. Because certain things will make you hold water.
Yeah,
so that's why certain things get taken out of the diet as you get closer to the stage. So that that's when the skin, you literally could like do this with the skin because you're not holding as much water.
Yeah.
So yeah, little things like little tricks. And it's all like with bodybuilding too is so scientific. I mean, and timing is so important. Like I had a schedule of when I could eat, and it got to the point where it was so bad that I would look at my watch like, okay, I got 4 more minutes so I can eat, like, because I was so
you really had
hungry.
to wait 4 minutes. You're not just like, oh, it's just 4 minutes. No,
the timing was important, just on like, depending on like, okay, those like pre-training, like if I knew I was training at 12, I had to eat a certain thing before, and then right after I had to eat a certain thing, to get the most benefits from that food. Food literally became fuel. It became just, it had its purpose. It wasn't for taste anymore. It was all about what it was going to do for my body. And so, it got to that point where I was like, okay, 2 more minutes. Okay, I can do this. Let me drink some more water.
It's like doing a plank, like 2 more minutes, just like eternity.
Oh yeah, and especially when you get into that metabolic state where your body becomes so efficient that it's actually using the food the way it's supposed to. Like my trainer told me, once you get to that point of where you're always hungry, you're in the right place. And I'm like, that sounds like hell. Like,
yeah.
I always feel that way. But then I realized what he was talking about, because it was like, I knew I just ate. And I'm like, okay, I'm hungry. But it was more so that my body was actually just using the food the way it was supposed to. It was repairing the muscle. I was recovering faster. Like the thing about bodybuilding that I really love, I love just seeing my body change. Like even in the day of my show, I looked different from the morning until the evening. Like it was really the coolest thing, because in the morning I was super, super lean, and in the evening I looked full. Like my muscles just looked bigger. And it was because I got to have carbs, from the evening show. So I filled up, and to me, I looked even better. And honestly, the next morning when I woke up, I felt like I looked my best. I felt I looked better than I did on the stage, just because of what I ate, after that. And I mean, it's really cool watching my body change. And I think, I don't know, I'm weird. So like,
No, I can't imagine. I can't imagine. But I have a question, because your body changes so much. How does it impact your self-image? Because I know a lot of women are struggling with that. I mean, if you're getting bigger or smaller, most of the women hold on to being smaller, and so how was the impact on that? How did you learn to cope with it?
It's funny you mentioned that, because I actually was like literally dealing with that this morning. So, I never ever wanted to be like super petite. Like that was something that I always knew, that I never wanted to be really, really petite. Mm-hmm. I knew that I was naturally a big bone girl. I've always had a bigger body frame. My family's bigger, but my bodybuilding coach, when he, convinced me to do bodybuilding, and I asked him like, why did you choose me? He's like, well, Alcine, you have some really big legs. And he's like, but, they would look awesome cut up. He's like, they're not going to go away. That's just your genetics. Like you were born this way, but why not make them look the best with what you have? And so like, that's where I am now. Like, I know that I'll never look like certain people. I've always like, what helps my mental, I guess, is how can I make me the best of me though? Like, what do I like about me? So like, I will literally look at myself in the mirror. Okay, what do I like about me today? Because maybe today it might not be my legs. Because maybe they're getting a little soft because I haven't been lifting heavy like I want to. So what do I like? Well, I always like my smile. That's the number one thing I always touch is my smile.
Yeah, you have a beautiful smile.
Thank you.
It makes me smile. When you smile, I smile.
But yeah, that's one thing. Like I'll always look at myself and I'll start smiling, because I'm like, okay, I know I love my smile, Yeah. And then I've always loved my arms. Like I don't know why, but I've always loved my arms. So that's the next thing. And I'll just literally go down my body and like, okay, what do I like about me? Okay, so what, then after I do that, then I go to the list of, okay, what don't I like, and what can I do about it? Can I change this or can I not? Like, I will never change the fact that I'm always going to have big thighs, but what can I do to make it to where I do like my thighs, or something like that. So that's what I kind of go through. It's like an affirmation thing with myself. And like, I mean, I'll be honest, it doesn't always work every single time, but it does work the majority of the time. And it may not work right at the moment that I'm doing it, but as I think about it more throughout the day, it finally goes into this point of acceptance that, regardless of if I'm big or if I'm smaller, if I'm ripped or if I'm not, I'm still me, and I love me. And I know what I got to do for me. Like, you are the best advocate for yourself too. Like, you can be your worst critic, but you could also be your best advocate, because you know you better than anybody else. And like, one thing my trainer also taught me was you have to be honest with yourself. you know, which is something I tell my clients now. Like, okay, like I have this one client, I love her. And I hope she hears this because she's going to know I'm talking about her. So she, you know, she wasn't a breakfast person, you know, and so people who tell me they don't like to eat breakfast, I'm like, that's fine. You know, maybe intermittent fasting would work better for you. You know, so not, you need to have breakfast because you have to have it, but let's just find something that will work better for you. But she wanted to try to actually eat something. So, you know, I told her maybe smoothies would work for you because, you know, then you're just drinking it. You know, you can make it, you know, how you want it.
I have them every morning. Well, almost every morning.
I love smoothies. So that's how I get my vegetables in. You know, I love vegetables too, but I like drinking my vegetables.
Yeah, me too.
But so she's like, okay, I'll try the smoothie thing. So her first smoothie was an epic fail. So the way she made it, she was so excited to tell me too. She was so proud. She was like, Alcine, I made my first smoothie and it was so good. I can do this every morning. I'm like, okay, great. What did you put in? She's like, I got some spinach, like you said. I got kale. I got wheatgrass. I cut up an apple. I put it in there. I said, okay. And I'm thinking like she's going to stop there. No. She added a banana. She added some yogurt. And I'm like, as she's telling me more and more stuff that she added to it, the more sweet stuff, I'm like, okay, let's put this in my fitness pal. Let's see exactly how many calories and how many grams of protein, carbs, and fats, and how many grams of sugar are actually in this shake. You know, because I'm already going to tell you just from what you told me, this does not sound good. You know? And she goes, oh no. So we do everything. It turned out to be the smoothie was almost 800 calories.
Wow.
You know, it had almost 47 grams of sugar. I don't remember the exact everything else. I just remember it had almost 47 grams of sugar though. And I'm like, girl, like you might as well just ate a candy bar this morning and drank water because like that would have been healthier than what the shake was.
Wow.
And she's like, well, it just tasted so bad, that wheatgrass. Like, I couldn't eat you can't cover that up. And I started laughing. And I was like, I agree. Wheatgrass is very, very strong. So I was like, take out the wheatgrass. You don't have to have wheatgrass. I was like, I just gave you a list of different things that you can add that could help. But if you don't like wheatgrass, just take it out, you know? I was like, you should have majority vegetables, and the fruit is only in there to give it taste. That's it. Like, it should not be in there to cover up all the good stuff from the vegetables that you're trying to, you know, to consume. So she did get better, but oh my gosh, that was, I mean, I really wish I would have took a picture of it. And so that I could just, because, I mean, I'm sure it was good.
I'm sure. Yeah. But I think that's also a common mistake that people think they are eating healthy, but they're actually not. They are putting stuff, and in the end, you could, like you said, better eat a candy bar than your healthy meal.
And that's why, like, a lot of people, I always tell them, especially if they're first starting out, it's always a good idea to track your meals, because when you track it, then that gives you an idea of what you're really eating. And then once you get comfortable with it and you know what everything's supposed to look like and feel like, and, you know, then you can stop tracking so much. But I always tell people it's always a good idea, because you'd be surprised how much people overeat. Like, when I did a nutrition class for my job where I talked about McDonald's, for example. You know, when McDonald's first came out, the portion sizes were a lot smaller than they are today. You know, super size me is like the big thing now. It's crazy now when you look at it. A children's kids meal, you know, their Happy Meal is actually an adult size portion. Like, that is our portion, what the kids are eating, what we're feeding our kids. We're feeding them our portion. So if that's our portion, imagine what they're supposed to be eating.
Yeah.
You know, but we've been so conditioned to eat bigger and bigger and bigger that we don't even realize what a portion size really is.
No, that's true. Because in the beginning with my own journey, when I was starting and I was tracking everything, then it said that I a certain amount of chicken, and I was like, but this is small. Like, am I not going to starve today? But it's now I'm used to it, and I understand what my body likes and what I can handle and what not. But in the beginning, I thought, is this normal? Like, have I been eating so much before? Like, no wonder that I look like this, even if I thought I was eating healthy, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And it's crazy too. Like, I tell people too, like, you know that your body has an intolerance when, if you eat something and within the hour or two, if you start feeling sluggish, or if you just don't feel right, that means your body is not processing that food correctly, you know? And this, because it seems healthy doesn't mean that your body likes it. Everybody's body's different. We process things differently. And there was a girl that when I was back in Germany, her name was Ema. Ema was from Italy. And Ema was like a toothpick, you know, but very healthy though. She worked out, like she was a runner, you know, but she loved, of course, her pasta. You know, and I realized, like, looking at her, and I'm like, you eat all this pasta. When I smell pasta, I gain like 10 pounds. You know, and I realized her body just learned how to process that pasta. And also she made her own pasta, so she knew what she was putting in her pasta. Yeah. So that really helped a lot as well. So, you know, I realized with her that her body it used it the right way. Me, it doesn't. Same thing with rice. You know, bodybuilding, that was something else too. My trainer was like, oh yeah, chicken and rice. But we realized that rice wasn't working for me. Even the brown rice wasn't working for me. It was actually, I had to change mine to quinoa. Quinoa actually was better for me than the rice. And even to this day, when I eat rice, I feel bloated. You know,
pasta, rice, I am just bloated. I look like I'm pregnant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I have the same. I have another question. What is the worst fact that you've heard in the health or fitness industry? Like people assume it's a fact, but actually it isn't.
Stop eating after 7 or 8 p.m.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think that's my most annoying one, is that one. Stop eating after 7 or 8 p.m. Or, oh, this is my favorite. Any diet. Any diet. Because, and I will say this because I learned, again, a long time ago, that, because I tried all the diets. Like I said, I've literally done them all. I've done just about everything, you know, did slim fast, did keto, did paleo. I did it all. And whenever I lost weight, what I realized was, because I tracked it too, what I realized was every time I was losing weight, it wasn't because of that diet. It was because I was in a calorie deficit. Yeah. And because I was following that diet, it put me in a calorie deficit. It wasn't necessarily the diet. You know, and carbs are not bad. Your body needs carbs, especially if you're a woman, unless you want to be super hormonal and hate life. You know, your body needs carbs. Carbs are good for you. They are so good for you. And you do not have to minimize your carbs for you to have good results. It's all about learning what carbs are the better carbs for the situation. Like, what are you about to do in the next 2 to 3 hours? And how can you fuel your body for the next 2 to 3 hours? So it's things like that.
Yes, I love that. Yes, yeah. I totally agree. Yes, carbs are not the enemy. Absolutely not. No. Cool. Awesome. I have 2 other questions. The last, not the last one, the one before is, what is the best advice that you could give someone who is about to start their health journey?
Don't do it alone. Don't do it alone. Whether you get a trainer or you have a really good friend, you need somebody to keep you accountable. You need somebody that's going to say, hey, did you work out today? Did you drink your water? How did you eat today? How do you feel today? You need a cheerleader.
Yeah. So like, someone like you and me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't do it alone. Do not do it alone.
So if people would like to hire you as a coach, how can they find you?
They can find me everywhere, honestly. And they even like look up my name, Alcine, because my name is so unique. You know,
yeah, it is.
Alcines Xtreme. So yeah, I have the website, www.alcinextreme.com, or they can find me on Instagram at Alcine Xtreme Fitness, Facebook, Alcine Xtreme. I have a free Facebook group. It's called Alcine Xtreme Operation Transform Her /M, because I don't discriminate. And then I also have my membership group. It's called She Is Strong. And so She Is Strong is a monthly challenge group where every month is a different challenge. And all it is to keep women going. Whatever their journey is, whatever their goal is, this is just to keep them going and keep them accountable as well. So, and
amazing.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter, Snapchat. I just made a TikTok like 2 days ago. So it's not up yet, but I made one. But I'm on everything.
Okay, well, I'll leave everything. If you can send me all the details, then I'll leave them in the description so everybody can see you.
Yes.
Okay, this was amazing. Wow, you are like a power woman. You are amazing. Well, thank you so much for this talk. And if anyone has questions for you, then they can send you a message or leave them.
Yeah, they can send me a message. They can email me, write me on anything. I'll answer.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Alcine is also going to be a speaker on this amazing event that is happening on the 12th of December of this year. It's called Becoming Superhuman, and she, myself, and 3 other coaches will be teaching you all about, well, becoming superhuman. We are going 4 levels deep, meaning brain, body, breath, and being. This is your chance to become a superhuman, to get the best out of you, to finish off 2020 strong, and to start off 2021 incredibly. 10% of all proceeds are going to this amazing charity called InStepp, and they are helping women from domestic violence and human trafficking. So grab your tickets now and start becoming a superhuman.